In a land where cacti outnumber cell towers and the horizon stretches further than a fiber optic cable, it's time for Valley's Bits, Bytes and Banter, the podcast that looks a bit behind the scenes of a broadband provider, takes a big bite out of the tech world, and serves up a healthy dose of banter with people in our community. And now, without further ado, here's your host, Bob Dahlstrom.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to Valley's Bits, Bytes, and Banter. I'm your host, Bob Dahlstrom, along with my co-host and partner in crime, Ralph Score. Ralph, how are you today?
I'm doing good, man. I'm doing good.
Great. Thanks for tuning in for another episode, everybody. We appreciate it very much. And we are got the special episode we're going to talk a lot about today. And we're going to get into playing some things because we've been thinking about we're 30 episodes deep into our podcast.
Yeah.
And we've been doing it a little over a year, and we've had a great response.
Who would have ever thought that we would get this far?
Who would ever thought? I'm telling you. And we'll talk more about that in the next segment coming up.
Yeah.
But thanks for tuning in, guys. And if you don't know, you can always listen, download, share, subscribe our podcast. We host it on Podbean, where we recently passed 1,000 downloads on our episodes, which is awesome. And you can also find us on Spotify, iHeart, mostly anywhere, Apple Podcasts, where you get your podcast. You can also go to vtc.net/blog. You can find us on YouTube and on Gila Valley Central. They've got a page there where they're featuring local podcasts, and ours happens to be one of them on there. We appreciate that very much. And it was time, Ralph, for us to do an episode. And here's something that's going to be different from this episode than any other episode we've ever had.
Who's our guest today?
Yeah, we are.
We are our guest.
We are our own guest.
Who would Well, we never would have expected that.
When he asked me, I was so surprised.
It's
and
like, Bob,
overwhelmed.
why don't you be the? Are you going to interview yourself today, Bob?
I'm going to interview you. I'm going to interview
Yeah.
me, and we're gonna play some special clips. We're gonna have a great time.
Yeah.
We are. This is the first episode where we have not had a special guest, and we're going to get all into that. But first, we want to talk about the things we normally talk about on the top of this, Ralph. Is things that are going on in the world today, technology-wise, and some trivia. What's happening?
Yeah. Well, first of all, there's a couple things going on with the FCC right now. Of course, we've had a change in administration, which usually means there's a change in some of the agencies like the FCC and that.
Yeah, that's true.
So we have a new chairman there, and they're going to unleash a new growth and opportunity program called the Build America Agenda. And what this does is part of it is some of the highlights from it are they're unleashing high-speed infrastructure builds. The FCC, they want it to do its part to unleash high-speed infrastructure builds in communities all across the country, which we've been working towards for a long time.
Very true.
But hopefully they'll accelerate this even more, so that companies like us and can help serve smaller communities in rural areas.
Right, especially the underserved or unserved. There are still communities and areas that are unserved.
Yeah, and I think part of what they want to do is they want to they want to cut some of the red tape.
Yeah.
So it does a couple things. Number one, some of that red tape drives up costs.
It sure
for
does.
us, I know that when we deal with things like ADOT or Department of Transportation issues, how long it might take to get something pushed through, to get approval, something like that. So hopefully it might speed up some of that stuff. A couple of other things they want to increase America's lead in wireless technology.
There you go.
Which because we've fallen behind as far as some of the Asian companies. They want to boost our space economy. I'm not sure exactly what that means.
Me neither.
They also want to cut red tape and modernize the FCC operations. I think that's for getting things pushed through quicker on agendas, maybe.
Yeah, there has been a lot of lag, especially in these the program they launched under the previous administration, providing grant money and funds to serve these other areas, to upgrade them to actual internet service.
Yeah, the hula hoops you have to jump through for that
it was massive, which caused major delays.
Yeah, and those delays are still being felt. That's the whole thing.
It's still resonating throughout the industry.
So hopefully it'll move things along a little bit quicker for us overall.
That would be great.
Another thing, of course, happened was that the Supreme Court weighed in on the Universal Service Fund. A little while ago.
That's been big in the news for us, for our industry. That's a big deal.
Because without it, it means that all those costs to the consumer would have to go up. to be able to build out an area that takes, a lot of people don't understand when we go into a big rural area and we got a big distance between one point to another, it costs a lot more money to get that service to someone as opposed to being in a city where you've got a big density area.
And many people have probably noticed on their monthly bills, you'll see a Universal Service Fund or USF charge on there, and that goes directly into that fund that all providers can draw from to help
helps offset the building costs.
Yeah, help offset. That's what I'm looking for.
Yeah,
is offset the building costs and to bring better services or new services to rural areas. And like you said, not all things are created equal.
No.
In the rural areas, it takes much more money to get it to less people.
It really does, and of course our big push is on fiber optics, and the thing about fiber optics is it's expensive to put it in.
Right.
The backbone is expensive to get it to people. The good thing is that once you've got it in, the maintaining it is a lot less expensive than maintaining copper in the long run. You don't have to replace it as often, unless you've got a big cut or something like that. It's pretty much weatherproof. You don't have to worry about it wearing out. It's future proof. You can increase your bandwidth just by your transport mechanism and all that.
That's I think probably the biggest part of that is compared to copper. It was the technology at the time, but it had its own built-in limitations just because of the materials.
Yeah.
And with this, if you can look far enough into the future, it's hard to anticipate everything.
Yeah.
But what we see in the future, this will really reduce those those chances that we'll have to replace this in the future because we're just tapping the potential of fiber optic networks.
Totally.
And as technology catches up, those will get faster and bigger, and it'll be you're right. Future proofing it is a great way to talk about it.
Yeah, exactly. So now I'm going to shift to something different a little bit, and just going to do a brief on this. But of course, today's podcast is all about podcasting, if you will.
How about that?
So
thank you, everybody.
Yeah. So there's and tell everyone, hey Bob, tell everyone where they can get this podcast.
Well, you can find this podcast on podbean.com or the free app. Go search Valley's Bits with 'S, and you can find this episode as well as all the other previous episodes of all the fantastic and wonderful guests we've had on. You can find it again on YouTube. You can find it on our website, vtc.net/blog. You go to Apple Podcasts, iHeart, Spotify, pretty much anywhere you get your podcasts.
Yeah.
And on GilaValleyCentral.net, they have a page there for local podcasts, and they feature us on that page.
Yeah, that's pretty
as well.
Cool. That's pretty
which
cool.
is awesome of them to do.
Yep. So this is a quiz, if you will, and it's
oh boy,
it's pretty straightforward. It's we're not going to do
summer. I didn't know I was going to.
We're not going to do the wild weird food quiz today. We might have some weird food stuff later on.
No question of the day, but we're having a quiz.
Anyway, so anyone can podcast as long as they have a computer with some sound editing software and a microphone. Is this true or false?
With any sound editing?
Yeah.
I mean, that's kind of, but really, you can. I mean, but you may be some other things involved there, but you really can.
Yeah, it says this statement is true because podcasting requires basic equipment such as a computer with a sound editing software and a microphone, right? Because you might have to razor the front end or the back end of it, just to clip it. These tools allow individuals to record, edit, and distribute their own podcasts. As long as someone has access to the resources, they can create and share their own podcast episodes.
Okay. Well, so far I'm off to a shaky start.
You're 100%. You're okay. So a podcast can be as short or as long as you want to make it.
That's correct.
That's right.
Absolutely. It's all up to you.
That's right. That's right. This statement is true because a podcast is a digital audio or video file that can be created and shared online. The length of the podcast episode can vary depending on the content and the creator's preference because we're not doing true crime.
Well, and that was one of the big discussions we had, right? And how long should our podcast episodes be? And you're right, we're not doing an expose, like an 8-part series of a true crime.
Exactly.
We're just talking with interesting people in our communities and try to keep it short and interesting.
Yeah. So here's a good one. Okay, 99% of all podcasts are free, meaning very few charge for podcasts.
That's very true.
Yeah,
that's very true.
Yeah.
That's what's amazing about podcasts too. Very much that community is wide open. I mean, those podcasts are available for free. Those ones that are big, fancy ones have sponsors, advertisers, and that's how they pay for those podcasts to keep them free.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right.
Okay, and finally,
this podcast was brought to you
By,
no.
Well, it's been brought to you by us.
By us, yeah.
Okay. So this is the last one is, which of the following is a way that you can listen to a podcast? Number one, A, is it straight from the website you found the podcast on? B, by downloading the podcast and putting it on a player of some sort? Downloading the podcast and listen to it on iTunes, or all of the above?
Well, it's clearly all of the above, Ralph.
Yes, that's right.
Hey,
that's right.
I appreciate you bringing that really pretty simple quiz for me to make me feel better about myself this summer.
See,
I haven't taken a test in a while.
Wasn't too tough of a test.
No, it wasn't at all. And that's great stuff to know, because a lot of times, and we get asked this, Ralph, and we'll talk about this in the next segment, but how do you get started? So, you're right. They're free. You can find them virtually anywhere, and it's pretty easy to get started. And speaking of that, we're started in this episode, and we're going to come back after this quick commercial break and talk more about how we got it done and some interesting little sound bites and more.
Oh, yeah.
We'll be back.
Hey, are you playing Fortnite?
Yeah.
Let's go, man. I'm gonna beat you so bad.
You know I could go pro if I wanted to. You do not stand a chance. Besides, we always just play against each other.
Yeah, that's true.
We need to find more people to play with.
Hey, Valley Telecom has the Fiber Gaming Network, an online community where we can compete in tournaments and win real prizes, or just meet new gamers and participate in casual game nights.
Whoa, that's so cool. But how much does it cost?
It's actually free. Valley Telecom is providing this to their community at no charge. We just go to vtc.net/gaming and sign up.
Wow, that's so awesome. Now I can show everyone I'm the best.
Get in the game with a Fiber Gaming Network powered by Valley Telecom. Go to vtc.net/gaming to sign up today.
And we're back with Valley's Bits, Bytes, and Banter. I'm your co-host, Bob Dahlstrom, along with my partner in crime, Ralph Score. Thanks for tuning in. And yeah, Fiber Gaming Network is one of the services that Valley Telecom offers. It is free. It's available to anyone in our area that we serve. You don't have to be a customer of Valley. Right. It's open to anyone. Go to fibergamingnetwork.com. You can register there for free. And whether you're a casual gamer, competitive gamer, there's something for everybody there, and you can win some awesome prizes.
Some really cool prizes, yeah.
And some of our, as you heard Josh and Jacob and seen us in that ad right there, as we've had on guests on the show talk about that they are avid gamers.
Yeah.
And they've won prizes on FGN, as we call it around here. So go there if you want to know more details about it. If you have questions, go to vtc.net/gaming and check out the FAQs and all the information there. You can even see the monthly calendar of games available.
It's really cool. So
it's awesome. Check it out, guys.
So this show is really special to us because we're really kind of recapping, I guess, a little bit of what we've done here over the last year.
Yeah, and a year plus. I mean, we have 30 episodes officially.
Yeah.
30. I think we include the holiday special.
Yeah.
Because that trivia question, right?
This will be, In other words, what was the number of our holiday special?
Yeah. It's the only one that doesn't have a number.
There was no number. It was
That's
just
exactly
called the holiday special. So, but we've hit some pretty good stats so far. We're over 1,000 downloads. And that's the last time I checked it. We're probably getting close to 1,100 downloads, and that's without doing any advertising of any sort whatsoever. So we're really happy to hear those kind of numbers coming in.
Yeah, it's been well received, and we really appreciate you guys responding to it. I mean, when Ralph and I sat down and talked about, we've been percolating an idea for a podcast for quite a while. But the thing was, what do we want to talk about? And yeah, I mean, obviously we're doing this for Valley Telecom.
Yeah.
But we didn't just want to talk about Valley. I mean, that would be interesting for maybe 3 episodes.
Yeah, we'd be done.
And it'd be it. That would be a 3-part expose.
We wouldn't even hit the Deadly Seven.
No, we would not even make it that far.
Yeah.
And we got talking about the area that we live in, the community. And a lot of people can relate to this. We've got so many interesting people out in our communities that we really should put the spotlight on them.
Yeah.
And not just who they are, what they do, some of their passions, some of their interests.
Yeah.
And everybody's been great. And our biggest fear was, what if people say no, thank you, when we ask them?
I think out of everyone we've asked so far, I've only had one that didn't really come through. And I don't know if it's just because of fear.
Yeah, it was maybe not a no, but it was a
wasn't.
hesitancy.
It wasn't a no. I think it was just a fear, of not necessarily wanting to be heard.
But everybody we've had on the podcast has been fantastic.
It's been great.
Well
guests.
received. They've had a great time.
Yeah.
They've been, and you can. I love the best part about it, Ralph, is when we talk to people and we find a common interest or something they're interested in.
Yeah.
How passionate people get about it, and it comes through.
It does
in the podcast when you talk to people.
It really does. And we've had and topically we've covered just an enormous amount of subjects. From a standpoint of who we've had on it. We started off, of course, we started with Troy Judd, our CEO.
Well, it just had to start with our own CEO first.
And he was a great guest, and I think one of the things I really enjoy is that we don't just touch on their topics and their passions, but we also get into them personally a little bit.
We definitely do. And we try to have a little fun with the question of the day.
Yeah.
And it scares everybody when they hear question of the day. They don't know what it's going to be, what we're going to ask. But you're right. It's talking about them and learning about what makes them tick and what they get excited about. And they've been great. I don't know what else to say about our guests, but they've been fantastic.
Well, and if you talk about a learning process for people when they listen to our thing, there's a lot of stuff you learn just by the guests that we've had, because you've had people like Jeff Gephardt on talking about education in the rural sector, and it's really revolutionary what he does. We've had people from the banking industry, we've had people from ag on, we've had people from the sports world and the media world, and we've had a couple repeat guests, but for the most part, we've had people that have really been diverse.
Correct.
In their approach and what they do.
And we've really made a real concerted effort to reach out across our entire community that we serve.
Yeah.
And from Columbus to soon Patagonia. Included in that, which we've got some plans there.
Yeah.
And we also, one of the things we wanted to do is we divided it all into categories.
Yeah.
What are some of the areas that are important to this area that we wanted to cover? Agriculture is a big one.
Right.
Healthcare.
Yeah.
Education.
Yeah.
Commerce.
Public safety.
Yeah. Government.
Yeah.
We even talked about community growth.
Well, and culture. We've done some cultural
stuff. And we try to hit those as much as we can. And we've been pretty successful at that.
And we're not afraid to go on the road.
No, we're not.
We've traveled to Columbus, New Mexico. We've been to Animas. We've been out to San Simon. We've been up to Safford. Of course, we're in our studio right now at our headquarters.
We are here in Wilcox. But have Mike and Wheels. We'll travel.
We'll travel. Yeah,
that's right.
Yeah.
We will do that. And like you said, we have had some repeat guests on, but for good reasons, right? Like we just recently had our CEO, Troy Judd, back on to give us an update on where our fiber projects are now, as an example.
Yeah.
And some of the things you're talking about with the FCC and things like that, and where do things stand, because that can affect long-term plans of what we have that we're wanting to get done, what we're going to accomplish.
Well, and we've also had a couple of people from within the company. We've had like Tim Bowlby on talking about network issues and that. We've had Heather Floyd on, and Heather's talked about the whole thing with BEAD funding and grants and what it takes to put stuff in the infrastructure. So that's always and then we've had the boys. We've had Josh and Jacob Encinas has come in, and we've had the holiday special and
which was great. We had a lot of
special.
So much fun with that.
Fun with those guys,
and the summer blockbuster. They were awesome.
Yeah, and then there was the great debate. We'll get into that in another episode sometime.
We will, and we have more plans for Josh and Jacob going forward that we're hoping to add to the podcast. Hopefully soon as we go forward. And there's so much we've seen it evolve since we've done that. And the reason what got us thinking about this is Ralph has been asked many times, what got you started in the podcast? Why did you do a podcast? How did you get it started? I've been on podcasts and presentations. I've been asked about it, and shout out to Andy and Megan over at Pioneer Utility Resources. Been on their podcast, the Story Connect podcast, asking about that and I gave you all the credit, Ralph, saying that you're the one.
Better known as Buttery Bob.
Buttery Bob. Yeah, that's another. There we go.
And I think the thing is, we talked about, what do we do this show about? And we came up with that. Of course, the title was real important, and that was really kind of a culmination of a couple titles. We had a whole bunch of stuff, and we threw them out there.
Oh, my goodness, we did.
And our boss, Lana Estes, said, well, I think you should combine this one and this one together. And it became Valley's Bits, Bytes, and Banter. And then, of course, we needed a mascot.
Of course.
So
you have to have a mascot.
A mascot, right. So
it seems to go hand in hand.
And there seemed to be something going on with the House of Mouse at that time.
And Public Domain.
Yes, that's right.
With Steamboat Willie. At the turn of the year.
Yeah.
Became public domain.
Yeah. So we kidnapped him. Bob cut off his tail.
Now we're going to have an investigation into this, Ralph. I love how you're telling this.
Cartoon animal cruelty.
We drove by with a bag, put over his head, and kidnapped him.
Gave him some earbuds.
Yeah, we gave him some earbuds.
And he became Podcast Willie.
That's right.
Yeah, so he's been our mascot ever since.
He is our podcast mascot. How can he not be Podcast Willie?
That's right.
And then lo and behold, a logo and a mascot and a podcast were born.
Yeah, that's right. And we've had we give away some swag. We have some custom coffee cups, and we have T-shirts and everything. And
anybody that's helped us out with the podcast gets an exclusive podcast T-shirt. And he also here at Valley.
Yeah.
We have many employees with them.
Yeah.
We did come up with a gift, and I mentioned this on Facebook when we did the giveaway about the 1K. The Valley Podcast 1K is that each of our guests that appear on here get an exclusive coffee mug with our logos on it that nobody else has.
Yeah.
That really is one of the things as a special thank you to our guests to do that. So then they are surprised when they get that because when they're done, I love the reaction from that's how you can tell hopefully you're doing a good job. They go, that was fast.
And they go,
or was it
that was fun.
That was fun, yeah. And then they offer suggestions. Hey, you know who else you should have on your podcast?
Exactly. Yeah,
and we love that.
I have. Here's my impersonation of Ed Curry. That was fun.
Yeah. When are we going to do it again?
Yeah.
Because he hit me up when I saw him after we did the first one.
Yeah.
I was one of the restaurants in town. He saw me. I feel his tap on my shoulder, and I turn it around. There's Ed.
There's Ed. Yeah.
I go, Ed, how are you? He goes, when are we going to do the podcast again?
Yeah, exactly.
Like, let me get with Ralph and we'll get it done.
And we've had people say, hey, if you ever need someone to sub as a host.
Oh, yes, we have. We have. So, and we've had a great time meeting people. And I think hopefully we've helped them. Some of them have, like I said, the passions and interest, and if they're important to the community, get that out to the communities as well.
Yeah.
And we've leared a lot along the way.
Oh my gosh. And one of the things is, if you think about podcasting, really it's kind of like media, and we do a lot of media. But Bob, you and I both do a lot of stuff.
We sure do.
Radio spots, or whether we're doing
newspaper, digital,
or video stuff that we're doing, and all that, and production and that. And so media has been one of the focus that we played in on, of course, and of course we hit up one of our we went to our go-to guys, one of them being Reed Richens at Double R, and then
owner
the
of
other
Double R now,
and then David Bell, who's the news director up there at Double R,
and their sports director Lee Patterson, and
Lee Patterson, also our sheep guy,
one of the episodes.
That's another story. Yeah, so
it sounds ominous.
But we have a couple of sound bites from them. One of Reed, and I think he's talking about how he got in the radio business, right?
Yeah, and this is a great example of what we're talking about. Things you learn about people you did not know.
Yeah.
And here's a sample of Reed sharing the story of how he got into radio.
We're in a band at the Stadium Club down here, right down the road here. And we were in a band together, and that's how we were making a living going to college. And one night, we had replaced another husband and wife team. And one night, the club owner came up and said, hey, those guys are coming back. You guys will be out in 2 weeks.
Wow.
Well, that was all we were doing for a living. We literally, that was it. So it was kind of devastating, but at the same time, my pride went, no, you better get something next week because I'm not playing for you anymore. Kind of a deal.
We're done.
And then I regret, how am I going to pay my rent? How am I going to, But as I was walking out of the club that night, a guy named Paul Motor, and you might remember Paul. I don't know. He was sitting in there, probably 3 or 4 sheets to the wind. And I walked up to him and said, hey, I need a job. And he had graduated from the electronics program at EA.
Oh, right on.
And he said, "You're in that program, right?" I said, "Yes." And he said, "What are you doing tomorrow?" Well, tomorrow was Sunday. And I said, "What do you want me to do tomorrow?" He said, "Well, meet me at the radio station in this very room that we're sitting in." And so I did. I came down here. This is back when it was all live. There was no satellite.
Right. All
And
DJs.
KTO, right in this room next to us, they were spinning records. They were still playing oldies. It was the classic hits of the 50s, 60s, and 70s is what it was.
Right on.
And I walked in and he said, "Just play this stack of records. At the top of the hour, press this button." It's a Sunday night, hardly any commercials running, kind of a thing.
Right.
And at midnight, press this button, and go home, and I'll call you. And he walked out the door. And that was it. And so I thought, well, I can do this.
Right. Yeah, I could do that.
So I did. And I did it one night, and it turned into, so far, a 35-year career.
And also being the owner of Double R Communications. Good for him.
And he wasn't always the owner.
No, he was not.
He worked for I think it was McMurray Communications, wasn't it? Prior to that,
It was McMurray, and when he bought it, he changed the name, to Double R for Reed Richards.
And they've really done some progressive stuff. And Reed also, people don't know this, he's the go-to audio guy in the area as
For
far as
any
sound
event.
or any event or installs and that. They recently co-opted a giant mobile stage that I think that was a combination of chamber money and some other money, but it really gives them some capabilities of doing some big live events and that. And we've seen that stage at a couple of the big outdoor events that we've done.
Not to mention how much he's involved with other community organizations. And he's really a big part of that community. And Reed was a fascinating guest.
Yeah.
We were glad to finally get him on.
Yeah.
We traveled over to the radio station there because he talks about it right here down the road. We're over at the studios, the radio studios in Thatcher.
Yeah.
And that's when we interviewed him.
And he's
there.
great, and he's a great friend of ours too.
He really
we've
is.
been involved with him for Gila Idol is a great idea. That Gila Idol, I can't believe the 20th year this year for Gila Idol.
And they never a shortage of talent.
No,
in the area.
It gets
it's
better
incredible.
and better every year.
It's incredible.
Yeah.
And we'll occasionally appear. I'll occasionally go down there and appear on Reed's show in the morning. And got to bring donuts. We know that's the unwritten
that's
rule.
a big thing.
We
And-
don't forget
and-
Reed. We bring him every time.
And it's not Bashes anymore. Now it's Food City.
That's
We're
right.
Getting your plug, Food City. You got the
Food
Carniceria.
City.
Great donuts down there.
Yeah, they do. It's where we usually go. There's another new donut place in town. We'll have to try them next time. And bring them over.
Yeah.
I need to get over on Reed's show again soon.
Definitely.
But one of the other shows we've been on before, excuse me, was David Bell's. And remember, we're on Voice of the Valley because David Bell has an AM talk show.
When I didn't have a voice.
Yes. Yeah, you were just nodding a lot.
Going, hey, how you doing?
And speaking of media, David Bell was another one we had on. And we've had him on twice. And we've talked about pop culture. He's a big pop culture guy and knows a lot about pop culture.
But he didn't start there.
No, he didn't. And we got into him talking about his start in news. And the question we were talking about is what the difference, because he talked about print, whether print was dying versus digital, the newspaper. So what's the difference between writing a story and actually telling it or talking or sharing it?
Right. And so we're going to play a clip from that right now.
So let's talk about broadcasting and journalism in a digital world. Yeah, I mean, you hit on it a little bit when you talked about if it's digital, you put it out there, you can go in and edit it, you can change it. But if it's in print, it's in print.
It's in print.
You can't change it. But what is the difference between writing versus talking and sharing stories?
The one thing I've learned going back and forth, I'm moderately new to digital. So I've never been a digital first person because I was always in print. And I wanted people to go to the print product first.
Right.
Broadcast is, I'm going to tell you what's coming because broadcast has no history. Once I've said it, it's done. We're past it.
Yeah.
So it's always, here's what's coming. Print is always, here's what happened. And hopefully with some background, et cetera. Digital is kind of that hybrid. It's still very immediate. So I've got to tell you what's coming, but I also have to tell you what's happening or what happened. And so you wind up doing a lot of duplicated effort, I think.
Yeah, it's funny because you watch, and video, TV is part of that. I mean, if you watch journalism on there, how often, if there's a story going on, do they have to repeat what is happening, that the headline the main subject that's happening, because in case somebody new tuned in.
Oh, it's always somebody's first time seeing.
Right.
Always.
Oh, yeah. There you go. And that's an interesting point, perspective he had on that versus print versus digital, or the news and watching it on TV and watching it unfold and those kind of things.
Yeah.
So very much a passionate topic for David. We had quite a few passionate topics for David. Like I said, pop culture is one of those as well.
Yeah.
Well, we're just getting started with our episode today, our very special episode, ladies and gentlemen. We played a few clips for you, but we've got some really good ones coming up and some more we're going to talk about right after this short break. So don't go anywhere. Stick around.
The endless options for streaming movies, shows, and sports can be overwhelming. Valley Telecom is here to help with Stream Now, your ultimate online reference for all things streaming. Whether you're a binge watcher or just looking for a quick episode to enjoy, we've got you covered. Discover recommendations, compare platforms, and find the best content for your favorite streaming devices. Stream Now makes it simple to get the most out of your streaming experience. Enjoy the journey of discovering your next favorite show, movie, or live event all in one place. The best part is it's free to use. Unlock the door to endless viewing possibilities by going to gostreamnow.com/VTC today.
Welcome back to Valley's Bits, Bytes, and Banter. I'm your co-host, Bob Dahlstrom, along with my partner in crime, Ralph Score. And ladies and gentlemen, if you ever have any questions or suggestions for topics or guests, you can always email us at podcast@teamvtg.net.
Yep.
And gostreamnow.com/VTC Cami right there, one of our marketing specialists that was doing the ad for that one. And for all things streaming, if you want to know, and I don't care if you're a novice or if you're a veteran.
Yeah.
You can't possibly know all the new releases.
No.
Everything that's what devices, how things have changed. It covers all things streaming. Go there, check it out.
It's a great aggregate site. So and we should tell people that this episode is kind of like a preview of another episode we're going to be doing, which takes it even further, maybe down the rabbit hole as far as this podcast, because we can't possibly cover all of our favorites and all of our best of in just one episode.
There's no way, and we're trying to follow our unwritten rule of keep the episode as under an hour if we can.
unless the boys are on.
Unless the boys are on, then all bets are off, because it's a
that's
special
right.
episode.
Yeah,
like this
right.
one is a special episode.
Yeah.
And before the break, we featured some episodes or some clips of other episodes we've had on in the media, talking about media. We had David Bell and Reed Richins. One of our favorite things to talk about, Ralph, one of our favorite things is food.
Food.
You and me.
Yes, that's
We're
right.
foodies.
We're foodies.
We love to cook, grill, smoke, and we love talking about it. And so do a lot of our guests. It's been a big topic on this show is food.
It has. And sometimes it's been weird.
Sometimes it's for different reasons.
You're going to hear a little bit of the weirdness, but we've had some of our trivia was like the strangest foods in the world, and that kind of stuff, which you kind of go, oh, I don't know if I want to try that or not. But we've had some great people talking about some of the food stuff on.
We've actually had one guest who brought food.
That's right.
And we did. Ellen Kaufman, General Manager and Vice President of Western Bank. And during the research we did before she came on, Ralph was able to learn that she has a recipe that she made for a lot of the athletes in high school that were called Good Attitude Cookies.
Yeah.
So here's the clip. You're going to love this.
Now talk about the cookies.
I was going to say, do you include cookies in any of these donations? Because you are donating cookies to us today, which we very much appreciate.
You're very
Ellen.
welcome.
Thank you.
Well, when I saw your request for this podcast and you had like some information about me, I'm like, well, you've been on my LinkedIn account. Okay, you figured out my CDO and U of A, but then it said that you bake cookies for sports teams. I'm like, how in the world? And then I realized who works here, Wendy Hooper, and then I realized her son,
local connection,
Caden. When you told me, Ralph told me that Caden was involved in my research.
Yes,
yes, he was.
So
local personality, historical research.
These are our good. We call them. My family calls these the good attitude cookies. My sons grew up playing tennis, competitive tennis, and for anyone who's played tennis, that is a very mentally stressful and physically stressful sport. And so I'd make cookies, and if you had a good attitude, even if you lost, you get cookies. Well, then the kids were going to high school, playing high school sports. I'm like, well, I'll make them for the team. So good attitude cookies for the team. Then the girls' team, basketball team said, well, can you make us some cookies? Actually, it was the managers. Can you make us some cookies? It's a thing.
It's just grown. It's just grown and grown. Well, just looking at these cookies has given me a better attitude. I'll tell you that right now.
They're called soft sugar cookies on the recipe card.
My goodness.
They're like pillows. It's like, I'm going to go home and sleep with one of these tonight.
They're slightly addictive because you don't feel like you're eating very much.
Slightly
until you've had 4, and then you.
Ellen.
Well, that's perfect. That means they have no calories. That's perfect.
That's right.
I love that, Ellen.
So yeah, those are fresh baked this morning for you.
And we appreciated it very much. They were very good cookies.
They were.
And appreciated Ellen bringing those just for the podcast.
Yeah. In fact, we've been thinking about inviting her back on the show again.
We need to give her
because
need to give her plenty of advance notice.
Yeah, so we can. Hey, can you like bring it up to feed everybody here in the HQ? You know.
Yeah, we did share some of those with everybody, and they were like, more, please.
Yeah, exactly.
They were so good.
Yeah.
Thank you, Ellen. She was a great guest too, talking about finances.
Yeah.
As well as that. Talking
Really
about
great,
cookies.
great information. A lot of people don't understand things like local finance, or what's the importance and difference between a local bank and a big bank.
Right. It's really interesting and fascinating, and there are differences.
Really
about
big differences, So
somebody else we had on that has an affinity for food, pizza. In a matter of fact, was the Wilcox City manager, Caleb Blaschke.
Yeah.
And we did ask him a question. His question of the day tied into that.
And I think you're going to have to set it up because I think we don't actually ask him the question of the day. So go ahead and what was the question of the day? The
question of the day that we ended up asking Caleb, he randomly picked, didn't know the question, was if you come home and find someone took everything off the top of your refrigerator, what did they get? And this is Caleb's response to that. You come home and discover someone took everything off the top of your refrigerator. What did they get?
Leftover pizza. We survive on pizza.
Nice.
DiGiorno, Safeway Select. Everyone acts like Safeway is super expensive. If you shop on Sell at Safeway, our Safeway has very competitive prices. Yeah. I would wager anyone. I'm an avid couponer, and
there you go.
I am. It just comes through like. All my family's cheap. My grandparents are cheap. It's hereditary.
So Caleb, if that's leftover pizza,
frugal.
Exactly how old is that leftover pizza on top of your refrigerator?
Not very old.
Okay,
it doesn't stick around very long.
We had an R&R buffet twice. 2 days in a row, Friday, Saturday. Then Saturday night, my wife brings home Little Caesars from Benson on her way home. It's pizza.
It's pizza. Yeah, with Caleb, it is pizza, number one, first and foremost, and I don't disagree with that.
No, I think I'm a pizza guy. Maybe a couple times, maybe once or twice a week. Whether it's getting it somewhere or whether I do like the semi-homemade thing with it. Where I take the frozen one and then I just throw everything else I've got on it.
Hey, you're making a Ralph special. That's what it is.
Like that, yeah.
Not quite the Clyde.
Not quite the Clyde.
But a Ralph special.
That's a really dangerous subject.
Well, as a matter of fact, we were keeping with the food theme. Vance Bryce, we've had him on, and he was a fantastic guest as well. And he's the executive director of the Graham County Chamber of Commerce. Yeah. And we got to talking about food, and Ralph brought up...
We got a little bit goofy.
Yeah, Ralph brought up a sandwich called the Clyde. So you're going to want to listen to this.
Yeah, here we go. Peanut butter, alfalfa sprouts, and Klaus and dill pickle.
That explains so much. It just explains so much, Ralph.
It's called the Clyde. My brother handed it to me one day, and it's like my favorite sandwich.
The Clyde.
The Clyde.
It's got a name.
So,
I can't wait to walk into the next restaurant that offers sandwiches like that and say, I'd like to take a Clyde to go.
Next show, I'm bringing a loaf of bread, some peanut butter, Klaus and dills, and alfalfa sprouts, just so you can try one out.
And we need to have video of that.
Can you imagine us like trying to talk while we're eating a peanut butter sandwich?
We do have some good restaurants. Not as many as, say, like Safford area does, but we do have some really good options.
High quality, yep.
We really do. In fact, we're going to hit that up today. one of those options today. I'm excited about it. I don't think they have a Clyde, but we'll do whatever we can.
I am really, really disappointed.
Is this a call to action?
Especially since it's Mexican food. Can you imagine the Mexican Clyde?
Oh, my goodness.
You just put some sauce on it.
Now we're really getting off the pass.
I do want to try a Clyde.
I think if you don't put the Clausen on it, then it's called a Gunther. I think that's what it is after that. I think it totally changes it. Can I have a Clyde hold the pickle? You mean a Gunther? Yes, sir. That's exactly what I want. All right. I laugh about it to this day. I don't know what made me think the Gunther with no pickle. I'm not a big fan of pickles.
So, but it's like, can I have a Clyde hold the pickle? Oh, a Gunther.
Yeah. Oh, you mean a Gunther? Yes, please. Yeah. And that way, and as you can see, that one got off the rails quickly with Vance.
Yeah.
And the funny part was his question of the day ended up being about food.
It was another food question. That's right.
Is the question in this clip, or do we need to set up the question?
I don't know if it is or not.
We asked him a straightforward question about a hot dog.
Yeah.
And you want me to tell the question?
And I think this is what I think it actually comes up.
It actually has it. But here, because we definitely had food on the mind. So here you go.
Yeah.
Here's another clip from the episode with Vance Bryce. Yeah. Is a hot dog a sandwich?
Is a hot dog a sandwich?
It's on bread.
I'm gonna say no.
Okay. Why would you say no, that it's not a normal sandwich?
Because you can also chop up hot dog and put it in macaroni and cheese or in other things, and it's still called a hot dog. Maybe a hot dog in a bun is a sandwich. Again, there's my political background.
But no one ever says.
Both of it's true.
Can I have a hot dog sandwich?
I was going to say, no one ever says, can I have a hot dog sandwich?
We'd have to ask the Earl of Sandwich if he wants it named after him.
Earl of Sandwich, can I have no hot dog
no.
on that? It is, otherwise, it's not a sandwich.
Not that German crazy, that's not English.
That's a great answer, though, to think about that. No matter where you put it, it's still hot dog.
It's
an ingredient.
Mm-hmm.
I'll bet you if I put that on a Clyde, it would no longer be a hot dog.
It would be a Clyde
with a hot dog.
That's exactly right. See? I'm sorry.
Can I have a side of hot dog, please?
A side of hot dog. Could you chop up my hot dog, too, for my Clyde? Would you mind doing that? Can I have a Clyde with a hot dog?
Yes, you can. Yes, you can. That might really do something weird to that sandwich. That sandwich isn't weird already.
I like that. It would not be a whole new sandwich.
No.
It would be Clyde with the hot dog. Add a hot dog.
But, of course, speaking about hot dogs, usually there's some condiments that go with that.
This is true. Everybody's got their favorites.
Yeah.
That they like for condiments.
And so,
what's your favorite on a hot dog?
I'm actually a mustard and kraut guy, and I like minced onion and that kind of stuff. But I also like traditional Chicago dogs. I used to go to Portillo's and get a real dog with the poppy seed bun, and then you get the peppers on it, and you get the tomatoes on there, and it's got to be yellow mustard if you're in Chicago. You don't ask for anything, and you don't do ketchup on a dog in Chicago either, unless you want to get shot.
Well, it's funny because I've eaten at Portillo's, and it's funny.
Yeah.
Arizona, we call it Portillo's. You ever watch the ads? It's Portillo's.
Portillo's, yes.
Because the L's we get rid of Portillo's, but. I'm with you. Mustard. I love a good minced onion on there.
But I go for a chili dog too. I love a really good chili dog.
But either one of those, any of those, you're going to put a condiment on.
Yeah.
And when we had our CEO Troy Judd on, his question of the day, and is that on there? The question?
I don't know if it is or not. It could be. Yeah. But, I think it wasn't so much. I think it was which one would he. Oh, I think it might be.
So it would be on there.
Yeah.
His had to do with condiments.
Yes.
I told you we like food.
Yeah.
Here's his clip. I love this answer. Is it if you could dispense one condiment out of your fingertips, what would it be and why? One condiment. These are questions designed to just be different, right? What's your favorite condiment?
I'd have to say probably ketchup. I can use ketchup on almost anything.
You can't go wrong with ketchup.
You can't.
I mean, it's amazing.
It's the universal condiment.
I love it. That's one of my favorites, that and mustard. I love mustard.
It's the foundation of all barbecue sauce.
Yeah, mustard would have been number 2 for me.
See, well, maybe your right hand, your fingertips could be mustard, and your left hand fingertips could be ketchup.
You have more than one fingertip on a hand.
Oh, now we're really getting into it here. Now we're getting into the weeds on that.
That's exactly where my head went to. I was like doctoring up a hot dog. Well, what do you put on it first? To me, it's ketchup.
That's the visual.
And then the mustard's coming right after.
Right on. I'm down with that. Ketchup and mustard.
Yeah.
My gosh. Hot dogs, hamburgers, whatever. That's awesome. Tater tots, onion rings.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now I'm just getting hungry. I'm getting hungry right now after all these food clips.
And we go out and we do these tailgate parties, right? Or we do. And we have a grill, and a lot of people don't know. We have a name for this, Happy Grillmore.
Love that.
And
it's a great name.
It's a steamer grill. It really works almost like an oven. It's meant. I keep saying, when are we doing the crab fest? The lobster cookout.
Yeah, it's like a big steamer grill.
But we get these really, really wonderful all beef hot dogs that go on that thing, and they're monster and they're massive and they turn out really, really good. And we've cooked a lot of them in a lot of places. I think the last tailgate party we did was at EAC, and we did 350 of those hot dogs.
And get good quality buns
good quality buns.
The bread is great.
And we've got all those condiments. We just don't shoot them out of our fingers.
Yeah, I think that'd be a little weird to show up and say, would you want ketchup on that? And then just
be really hard to get
finger
our health,
guns.
Be hard to get our health permit if we did that.
Yes. If we had gloves on, would that be okay?
It might.
Maybe you had a hole in the tip with the gloves so you could shoot ketchup on there?
Probably not in Santa Cruz.
Yeah, that's not going to fly in Santa Cruz County. So, yes, as you can see, food is a big topic, not just for us, but for a lot of people.
Yeah.
And one of the other areas we wanted to talk about, too, is one of the common things we came across, the great outdoors.
Yeah.
Arizona's a wonderful place.
Especially down here.
And southeast Arizona, southwest New Mexico, fantastic to walk outside and just hike and just camp and go hunting, fishing.
Yeah.
There's a lot to do.
It really is an outdoorsman's paradise in a lot of ways.
It really is. And we do have, because of that, a lot of people who live in southeast Arizona, southwest New Mexico are hunters or fishermen, are fishing, and they love to go do that. So a couple of our guests, we got into that because those were big passions of theirs. And one of them was Marcy Harris. And she's the principal over at Duncan High School. Actually, a former Valley employee from many years ago.
And her cousin, Sharma?
I believe so.
One of her cousins works for us still.
Sharma still works for Valley. And we got into talking about, because she's great with a bow. She's an archer. And we got into talking about hunting. And if you've talked to anybody hunting, they've got their hunting stories.
Yeah.
So we asked Marcy, tell us one of your hunting stories.
Yeah.
And she had a great one for us. And here's a good clip of that right here. All hunters have a story that, like their favorite hunt, their favorite game. You've got one. I know you've got to have it, Marcy. Tell us about it.
I do. It was the one that got away. We traveled over to Australia. We have a friend over there, so he had come over and hunted with us, and we went over there to hunt with him. And we were hunting up in the northern part of Australia for water buffalo. Wow. And it was so exciting and yet nerve-wracking at the same time. I took my son there, and he was I think he was 8 or 9. And there were crocodiles everywhere and all of the deadliest snakes and all of the things. And I'm like, I'm a horrible mom. Why did I bring my child here? But it was so much fun. And I had, so it was really difficult to get in on the water buffalo to get that stock.
Yeah.
And so pretty much all the guys, my middle son actually did shoot one with his bow. And everybody else had switched to rifles because as the days went on, it wasn't successful, and they all wanted to harvest something before they went home. Right. So they had all switched to rifles, and I kind of just stuck to my gumptions and said, no, I'm going to stick with my bow. And so I had right at the end a stock out 33 yards I had embedded down. And I'm shaking like a leaf, and I'm out in the middle of this completely open floodplain, so I had nowhere to go if he decided to run toward me.
They're a pretty dangerous animal.
Yeah, it's not like a Cape buffalo, but they still have an element of danger to them.
Right.
And so his head went up, because the grass was so tall that you could just see the tip of his head.
Yeah.
And so all of a sudden you see his head go up, and I knew he had sensed us that close. And my son was behind me with the camera, so we got all of this on video. And he said, the older son anyway, not the little one. And he said, draw back as soon as he gets up. And I'm like, yeah. And so he jumped up, I drew back, and he darted off. Like, he never even stopped for a shot. And I turned around, and he got all this on camera, and I said, I'm glad he ran that way instead of this way. Because we had nowhere to go.
Yeah, what are you going to do, right? Yeah. I mean, you're so exposed out there, and like that, holy cow.
I was shaking so much, I'm not sure I could hit the broadside of a barn, but I was going to attempt it.
Oh, my gosh. What a story.
It was so much fun.
The one that got away from Marcy.
Yeah.
Down in Australia.
Yep.
Water buffalo.
Yeah. Yeah.
I always think of
amazing.
My kids were young. They used to watch Veggie Tales.
Yeah.
And one of them was Silly Songs with Larry. And there was one on there about a water buffalo.
Well, it wasn't the Grand Water Buffalo Lodge on the Flintstones?
I think it was, as a matter of fact.
The Grand Poobah.
The Grand Poobah.
Grand Poobah of the Water Buffalo Lodge. That's right. I always wanted to be the Grand Poobah of the Water Buffalo Lodge. You know.
That was a great story.
Yeah.
And like I said, and every hunter has one. And another guest we had on was Mike Zamudio.
Yeah, and Mike is, he's really, if you look at, he's very, very heavily involved in our youth agricultural stuff. He's an FFA advisor. He teaches ag at San Simon High School.
You're right.
And he's also a pretty renowned judge as far as at livestock events for youth.
Very well respected and requested all over the state for that.
Yeah. So,
and he had his own hunting story to tell as well. He was more than happy to share it.
He did. Here it is.
Here we go. Every hunter, especially when you're hunting bigger game like that, has a story.
Oh, yeah.
Of something that got away or just something that was incredible. What about your story? Do you have a good story for us? Hunting story?
I have several hunting stories. And it's always fun, and what the thrill of it is you never know. One of my favorite hunting stories is I was archery deer hunting here in San Simon, and everybody told me that the method I was going to use wasn't going to work because I would just go out after school and I would go sit on top of like a center pivot. Mm-hmm. And in the Midwest, they use tree stands.
Right.
Here, well, we don't use tree stands.
Right.
But I'd watch the deer every day come into a certain field, and they'd come in different spots. So knowing where to sit every time was different. So I said the common thing they did is they'd go to that center pivot to about the second, third tower and get within shooting distance. And I said, I'm just going to climb up on top of that center pivot and see if the wind was blowing, it was blowing the wrong direction and everything. But because I was higher, they never saw me. Right. They never smelt me. And I was able to get a shot off on a really good buck. And everybody laughed and told me it wasn't going to work. And it did.
And you had the last laugh.
I did.
Yeah, you did. You're like, just see, I told you. Yeah. I love that. That's great. Thinking outside the box, at least compared to everybody else. A success story for Mike Zamudio.
Yeah.
He was able to get his in that, and great thinking. Very smart on that one. And sticking in the vein of great outdoors. Now, this is not a hunting story.
No.
But Lee Patterson, when we had him on, we said he's sports director and sales over at Double R Media, Double R Communications. Famous sheep fighter, which is one of his questions he had, which made us laugh. It was a great answer. But the question of the day we had for him ended up turning into Lee telling us a true story.
Yeah. Yeah.
Of an encounter in the great outdoors.
Yes.
Here you go.
I bet he wished he would have hunted at that point.
I bet he did. Yeah. I bet he wished. So did his dad.
Yeah.
Here you go. Lee, tell a bizarre 2-minute story about the night you slept in the woods.
The night I slept in the woods. Well, I grew up in southern Arizona, so there are no woods. I do have a story though. We were camping. My dad and I were camping north of Tucson before it was all houses. There was some camping up in that area, and all we took was a couple of sleeping bags. We're going to sleep on top of a picnic table. And we went out there, and
not a bad idea off the ground.
Right. In the middle of the night, we were visited by a black bear.
Were you really?
We were back before they were there. I don't think they're anywhere close now, but he came in, and because we left a dinner out, and he was hungry as well. So that was fun as like an 8-year-old waking up to the sounds of a bear. There was no tent or anything. He was just right there.
Right in the open.
Oh, hi there, Mr. Bear. There was no woods, though. I mean, that was at the base of probably what is the Push Ridge Mountains now.
The picnic table was the woods.
Yeah, the picnic table was the woods. Yeah, exactly.
The woods of picnic tables.
Yeah, that is, it wasn't quite 2 minutes, but there is my bizarre, the night I slept in the woods story.
That's a true story.
It is a true story.
It's not just a made-up story. That's a true story.
A made-up story. That is a true story.
You ever been camping in the woods? Ever go?
Yeah, we have. Yeah, broke down in Illinois one time in the middle of the woods.
Really?
Yeah.
Ooh, were they haunted woods?
They may have been. I don't know. I was like, I don't know. It was probably the same summer. Now that I think of it, it was when I was around that age. We were on our way to Michigan, and we broke down. And I spent more time staring at the trees than anything. I was like, wow, what are these things?
So the moral of that story is don't go camping with Lee Patterson.
Yeah, that's it. That is the moral of the story. Bad things happen with Lee. Yeah, don't. Lee is Lee.
But what a surprise it would have been. Like you said, as an 8-year-old, you wake up.
You
wake
up
his dad,
and there's
you
a
wake
bear
up
in
and
the
there's
area.
rummaging around because he smells your dinner.
Yeah.
That you had left out,
and you could have become dinner or breakfast
very easily.
Yep.
But they handled it well, and all things were good. Everyone went their separate ways, and Lee's still around.
Yeah,
so all intact.
But it's kind of nice, so you've gotten a little taste of what some of the things that we really appreciated over the last year plus since we started doing this show,
Yeah, it's not lost on us, the things we've got to experience and hear and got to share with every one of our guests and with you out there since we started this podcast.
The hardest thing is picking those things that stand out because a lot of them stand out. There's a lot of things that stand out with us.
I mean, if you really want to hear them all, you need to go back and download, share, subscribe, and like all of our episodes.
You can listen to all of our episodes starting from way back from the very first one with Troy Judd and moving forward.
That's right. But if you would like to hear a little more of a condensed version of some of those on our next episode, we're going to have some more we're going to share. Yeah. And we've got some really good stuff, guys. We want to get out there to you guys and talk about. So thanks for listening to this podcast. For my co-host, Ralph Score, I'm your co-host, Bob Dahlstrom. Thank you for listening to Valley's Bytes and Banter. Ladies and gentlemen, we'll see you all again very soon.